Bienvenidos a este nuevo video. Hoy veremos un escenario práctico de una reunión empresarial completamente en inglés. Hoy aprenderás expresiones reales de productividad, vocabulario de finanzas, términos clave de presupuesto y lenguaje profesional de ventas. Todo dentro de una conversación natural. Presta atención a cómo interactúan los participantes, cómo negocian ideas y cómo utilizan el inglés en un contexto corporativo real.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you both for being here and for making the time for this meeting. I know we all have a lot on our plates right now, so I really appreciate your availability. Before we begin, I want to set the tone for this conversation. The goal today is not just to review numbers or discuss isolated issues, but to really align across departments, operations, finance, and sales, and understand how everything connects. We're going to talk about productivity, financial performance, budget planning, and sales strategy, but more importantly, I want us to challenge ideas, ask questions, and explain things clearly so that we're all on the same page. Does that sound good to both of you?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's exactly what we need right now. From a finance perspective, I've been noticing some patterns that concern me, and I believe they're closely tied to both productivity and sales performance. So having this kind of cross-functional discussion is going to be very valuable.
I agree as well. From the sales side, we're feeling some pressure, especially in terms of conversion rates and timelines, and I'm sure that's connected to both operational efficiency and budget decisions. So I'm glad we're having this conversation in detail.
Great. Then let's start with productivity, because that's really the foundation of everything else. Over the past quarter, I've been analyzing our operational performance, and one thing that stands out is that our workflow is becoming slower and less predictable. Now, when I say workflow, I'm referring to the sequence of steps that tasks go through from start to completion. Ideally, that process should be smooth, efficient, and consistent. But what we're seeing right now is variability. Some tasks move quickly, while others get stuck. And this is where the concept of bottlenecks comes in. A bottleneck is essentially a point in the process where progress slows down significantly, creating delays for everything else that depends on it.
That resonates a lot with what we're seeing in sales. For example, when my team is working on leads, they often need support from other departments, whether it's pricing approvals, technical information, or contract adjustments. And what happens is that if there's a delay in any of those steps, the entire sales process slows down. From the client's perspective, it looks like we're not responsive, and that directly affects our credibility.
That's very interesting, because from a financial standpoint, delays like that have a direct cost. When processes take longer, it means we're using more time, more resources, and ultimately increasing our operational expenses. So even if we don't see it immediately, inefficiency translates into higher costs.
Exactly. And that's why productivity is not just an operational concern, it's a financial one as well. Let me define productivity in a very simple way. It's the relationship between output and input. Output is what we produce, completed tasks, delivered projects, closed deals, and input is what we use, time, effort, resources. When productivity decreases, it means we're using more input to produce the same or even less output.
So basically, we're working harder but not necessarily getting better results.
Exactly.
And that's where efficiency comes in, right?
Yes. Efficiency is about doing things in the best possible way, minimizing waste and maximizing results. Right now, I don't think we're operating at optimal efficiency. And I think one of the main reasons is lack of prioritization.
I completely agree with that. In sales, one of the biggest challenges is deciding where to focus. We have a lot of leads, a lot of opportunities, but not all of them have the same value. Some are high potential, others are unlikely to convert. If we don't prioritize correctly, we end up spending too much time on low-value prospects.
That's actually a very important point. From a financial perspective, that's what we call opportunity cost. Opportunity cost is the value of what you're giving up when you choose one option over another. So if your team spends time on low-value leads, the cost is not just the time itself, it's also the lost opportunity to focus on high-value clients.
That makes a lot of sense. So improving productivity is not just about working faster, but also about working smarter.
Exactly. And that's where we need to focus. All right, David, I think this is a good moment to connect productivity with financial performance. Can you walk us through the numbers?
Of course. Let's start with the basics. First, revenue. Revenue is the total amount of money generated by the company through its business activities, mainly sales. Over the past quarter, our revenue has increased by approximately 12%, which is definitely positive. It means we're growing and attracting more business.
That's good to hear.
Yes, but here's where it gets more complex. At the same time, our expenses have increased by around 15%. Now, expenses include everything we spend to operate the business: salaries, marketing, technology, administrative costs, and so on.
So expenses are growing faster than revenue.
Exactly, and that directly affects profit. Profit is what remains after we subtract expenses from revenue. And more specifically, we often look at net profit, which is the final profit after all costs, taxes, and deductions.
So what's happening to our net profit?
It has decreased slightly, around 3%. Now, this might not seem like a huge number, but it's a signal that something is not working efficiently.
So even though we're growing, we're not maximizing our profitability.
Correct, and that brings us to another important concept: profit margin. Profit margin is the percentage of revenue that turns into profit. For example, if we generate $100 and keep $20 as profit, our profit margin is 20%.
And ours is decreasing?
Yes, which means we're keeping less money from every dollar we earn.
Let's talk about the budget, because clearly we need to make adjustments.
Absolutely. A budget is essentially a financial plan that outlines how we allocate our resources over a specific period. It includes expected revenue, planned expenses, and investment priorities.
So budget allocation is how we decide where the money goes.
Exactly, and right now, the challenge is that we need to be more strategic with that allocation. We don't necessarily need to spend less, we need to spend smarter.
So it's not just about cutting costs.
Correct, it's about optimizing. For example, if we're investing in an area that doesn't generate strong returns, we should consider reallocating that budget to something more effective.
Like sales initiatives.
Potentially, yes, but we need data to support that decision.
That's fair. I can provide projections and expected outcomes.
That would be very helpful. Another key concept here is cash flow. Cash flow refers to the movement of money in and out of the business. Even if a company is profitable on paper, poor cash flow management can create serious problems.
So we need to make sure we always have enough liquidity.
Exactly.
All right, Sophia, let's go deeper into sales.
Sure. So, one of our biggest challenges right now is conversion rate. Conversion rate is the percentage of leads that become actual customers.
And ours is low?
Lower than we'd like, and there are several reasons for that. First, lead qualification is not strong enough. Lead qualification means evaluating whether a prospect is likely to become a customer.
So we're spending time on the wrong people.
Exactly. Second, our sales pitch needs improvement. A sales pitch is how we present our product or service to potential customers.
Is it too generic?
Yes, we need more personalization.
Meaning tailoring the message.
Exactly. Each customer has different needs, and we need to address those specifically.
What about the sales cycle?
It's too long. The sales cycle is the time it takes from first contact to closing the deal.
And long cycles delay revenue.
And increase costs. Exactly.
So, to summarize everything we've discussed, we need to improve productivity by optimizing workflows and reducing bottlenecks. We need to control expenses and improve profit margins. We need to allocate our budget more strategically. And we need to strengthen our sales process.
And we need to track everything consistently.
And stay aligned across departments.
Exactly. Alignment is key.
Execution is key.
Consistency is key.
All right, let's make it happen.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
Good.
Y hasta aquí nuestra reunión de hoy. Si te gustó este tipo de contenido y quieres seguir mejorando tu inglés profesional para negocios, ventas y finanzas, no olvides darle like, porque así apoyas este canal y nos ayudas a crear más contenido como este. Suscríbete y activa la campanita para no perderte los próximos videos donde aprenderás inglés real, útil y aplicado al mundo laboral. Y cuéntame en los comentarios. ¿Qué parte te pareció más útil? ¿Productividad, finanzas o ventas? Nos vemos en el próximo video.